What's up everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to create a form with validations using only Bootstrap without any custom CSS required. So this is the form which we are going to be creating today. So this has text fields and an email, a phone number, radio buttons and the select options and then a text area and the checkbox, just so that we cover all of the major input fields over here. So to test this out, we can just submit without anything. So if we submit without anything in the fields, it's going to throw us the validations. So these validations are the invalid validations, which is going to be showing us that these are not the right ones. Please enter the right ones. So please enter a valid first name, enter a valid email and valid phone number, select something over here or select here, write something, check this box, something like that. Once we try to check this, it's going to automatically validate that and it's going to show us the success message. If we try to do that to this, so it's going to be showing the same. It's going to validate it. And the email too, if we just type something, it's not going to take it as an email, but if we try to give an email, then it's going to be said it's validated. And the phone number, we are going to give a phone number and we need to select something like this or this, I wish, and then select some color, red or else green, anything, and type a message. This is a message, and then we are going to agree to the terms like this. So now everything is validated and we are seeing all the greenish colors over here. And now if we submit, that's going to take us to a new page, which is the thank you HTML page. This page is going to have that success message which we receive once we are going to submit the form. So let's see how to create this form in Bootstrap. Without any further ado, let's get started. To get started, we just need to create a new file which is going to be our index.html, which is our main source file. So once we get started with that, we can go with the snippet, which is our emmet abbreviation for our basic HTML document. We just need to hit exclamation and hit tab, and now we got our basic HTML snippet. So now we can just have our Bootstrap ready. Before that, I'll just have a h1 tag just to test it out. So hi, this is my new site. So for now, we'll just try to go into the live server, open with live server. If you don't have it installed, you can just go into extensions and then search for live server here. And you will have this one, the first one, so by Redwig Day. So you can just click this and try to install it. I've already installed it, so you can just install it if you want. So once we have that installed, we can just right click anywhere over here in the document and we can just say open with live server, and our server is going to be opened. Let's just wait for a few seconds. All right, so we got our tab. So this is our new site. So now this is running in this one, so we can just have it like it's going to be reloading automatically. So if I just make some adjustment here, so save it up and that's reflected. So this is live reloading. So now what we can do next is we can just open a new tab. We can just say Bootstrap, go to Bootstrap's main page. Now I'll be getting into Bootstrap's docs, and here we have the quick start guide. In that we need the CDN links, so I'll just copy them from here. I'll just copy that first link, which is our Bootstrap min CSS link, so I'll just need to copy the whole thing. So I'll copy this tag, which is it's the basic link tag for connecting the CSS with the CDN of Bootstrap. So I'll just paste it there, and then we got ourselves our Bootstrap. So if I save this here, now once we save this, now if we go into our Chrome and go into the tab, now that's being changed to a new font. This font is, I think it's some system UI font which is default from Bootstrap, I think. This is the new font which is by Bootstrap. This means our Bootstrap is running successfully. So now if I go down, we have another thing to do. So this is a script tag. If we want to add our JavaScript files of Bootstrap, we can just add it over here. For now, I don't think we need it for now. For it's mostly for modals and all those stuff. I don't think we need that for now. So I'll just leave it at that. So if I go down over here into the body, we'll start our forms now. So at first we'll just have our div with classes of deflex, flex column. Just to align it in the center, we just have vh height to be 100, and then justify the content so it's in the center. So align items center. So all these things are just to make the form into the center of the page, so we can just have it in the center so that it feels like, okay, we are attentive in the center. So that's just my preference. People have different things, so I prefer it that way. So now I will have a container. So this is a Visual Studio's embed behavior, so I like this one. So if you prefer it in a different way to type, so you can do that too. I like it this way. So if I just click tab, it's going to add it as a class. So we just need to add a dot over there to class. So div class container, which is going to give us a container. So now I have another div with a row and also a justify content center, just to make the row into the center of the page. So if I click tab, we're going to have this one. And now if I click div, another div, we can just add a column just to make that separated. Column 8 dot m5, just to give it a margin. We'll have a form, and then for now we don't need the action. We'll just leave it at that. We'll add the action a bit later. So now if we go into the form, we'll just have a div with margin 2, and then we'll have a h1 tag which is going to have our form title, anything. I'm just having it as just a form. So now if I save this and go into Chrome again, so we have the form title in the middle of the page. So that's what we were intending. Now once we have this, we can just go back to our Visual Studio. Now after this, we'll go down into a new one, new div. We're going to create a new div which is going to have a call md12 dot m2. I'm just giving m2 so all of these have a consistent margin of 2. Now what we can do is div dot row, just to make it clear. I so like those rows and columns, so I just want that to be clean and tidy. So yeah, so that's the row. Once I have this row, we can go into the call. We are going to create a call. We are going to have a label. So label for first name, and we are going to have a class of form label. So this form label is going to have a form name, like it's going to have a label as first name. We are just going to give it a name, and then span should be a star, just to make like kind of real form. So class text danger. So once I have this one, I'll show what I can do. I mean, like what we can do with this one. So this is nothing but a typical form which have the label, which the label is going to have a name, right? So it's a first name or an email or something, and it's going to have an important tag or something like a star or a red color, something, dot or something, just to make it like it's important. You need to have it there, right? So now if I do this, it's going to show it as this. So we are going to have this is the label, and we are having the star just to make it as an important label to attend to. Now, so the label is completed. Now we can go into our first input field. So if we go into the first input field, that's going to be for the first name. So in this field, we are going to have the type is going to be text, and then we are going to have the class or form control, which is given by Bootstrap to make it beautiful. And then we are going to have a placeholder to show what it's for. So that's going to be our first name. So now we are going to have an ID of first name. This ID is just to reference this field in our validation of the form. Now we are going to have a required thing. So for once we have this required over here, this is going to help us to validate it in the front end and the back end. So just it's the browser validation of what is required or not. So once we hit this, if we submit it without entering anything, if we have missed the JavaScript also, the browser is going to restrict it automatically. So that's why this required field is going to help us. So if we save this and go into our Chrome, now we have the field. So this is first name. So we are having this beautiful blue color. This is provided by Bootstrap, the CSS. So we have our placeholder. This is a placeholder, and if I click this, now that's highlighted. Now we can type anything. So yeah, that's our first input field. We are going to do that same for a lot of things. So let's just jump right into those. So now if I go into a div.valid feedback, so I'm just going to have this class. So you can see that later, because now I'm just adding these classes. Once we create the front end, we can just go into that JavaScript thing. So once we go into the JavaScript, you can understand what these are used for. So once I have first name validated, so this is going to have us validated. So this is for once the input field is validated as successful and it's validated correctly, then this is going to be shown. So the first name is validated, so that's going to be shown to the user. If not, if it's incorrect, we will be showing this one, which is invalid feedback, which is going to be please enter a valid first name. So if that's not correct, the first name is not validated, it's going to show me this. So it's going to show me is that okay, it's not validated, it's invalid, so please try again. So that's what it shows. So once that's done, this is just for the first name. For now it's going to be invalid, like we can't see anything over here just now. So this is handled by Bootstrap, so that's why it's not being showed. Once we get into JavaScript, we can just hide or unhide according to the inputs we get it from the user. So for that, you need to wait for a little bit longer. So now I go into the next field, which is for the last name. So div call. So that's, we are already in this row, so we are going to have a new call. So I'm going to just copy all of this and just copy that and go in here, paste that. So this is for the last name. So I'll just add a comment. So control and slash is going to give me a comment. So for that, I'm going to add it as last name, and this is for our first name. So now this is the last name. So let me just change all of these to last name, and then this is last name. Also this as last name, and this one, and this one. So all these are last names. So yeah, we got the last names correctly right. So now we can just go into the next one. So the next one we're going to add is our email section. So this is going to be our email. I'm just going to copy the same thing, but we just need to do a few changes. I'll just paste that one here. Now I can just do some, 1 second, I just missed this one. So last name. So if I get to the email section over here, we can just add email instead of first name. So we'll just remove that email. Okay, email, remove all of this, and then instead of the type text, we can just have email because that's a valid type, so we can validate that it's an email or not. So now it's email, the ID is gonna be email. So yeah, that's good. Next, this is gonna be email again. Wow, that's a lot of emails. Well, once that's done, that's correctly, yeah, that's done, that's good. So now if I go down, next, first let me just save this and check whether our changes are correct. So first name, last name, email. So all these are perfectly done. Now what we can do is get into the next one. So we get into the next one, which is going to be our phone. So we'll just add phone and go down, paste that again. Now what we can do is we can just do a simple change here. That's going to be a phone number. So phone, and then we are going to change this to phone again, and then that's going to be a phone. All right, then the same over here, phone. Well, the type is going to be tel because that's a type of tel which is by browser. So now that's good, and then let's change the validation fields too. So this is going to be phone validated, and then valid phone. All right, now we can go down. Yeah, let me just check that here. Let me save this first. Go to Chrome. Yeah, we got our phone, so that's good. Let's go back again. Now once that's done, we go down and we'll just add a new one. So this one is just an example, like it's kind of an example for the radio buttons. So how the radio buttons work or something like that. I'm just trying to show you guys how to do that. So this is going to be for the radio buttons. So this section, total section is going to be for that. So if I come here, we can just add the same thing first, just to make myself easier. All right, so now what we can do is we can just come here and see what we can do here. So the label, we can change this to select one. So just selection, we'll just have this as selection, something like that. I'm not sure what we can do that. All right, so the type is going to be a radio type, so that's for the radio buttons. So now we can just remove the placeholder here. We don't need a placeholder for radio button, so we can just remove that one. And then the ID is going to be radio check 1, because we are going to have 2 checks. So this is the first check. So now for radio buttons, we need a name so that it's going to be identified by that. So radio stack, just for my convenience, I've used that. So now if we come here, that's a required field again. We'll just do that, and then what we could do is we could just have a label which is going to be vegetarian for radio check 1. So this is going to be validated for this one, right? So this vegetarian is going to be the label for input of radio check 1. So the class is going to be form check label. This class is going to be Bootstrap. Most of the classes in this document are going to be by Bootstrap. Those are like default which Bootstrap gave us. So I'm just trying to eliminate that documentation. I'm just trying to add them here so that it's going to be easier. So now we got this. Now what we could do is we could just copy this whole thing, or else we can just try type it again, but yeah, I'm just going to copy this one and I'm going to paste that. Now this is going to be radio check 2 and radio stacked correct, and then we are going to have it as radio check 2, and this is going to be a non-vegetarian. So that's a vegetarian and non-vegetarian. So now we got 2 inputs, but it's better like let me just show Chrome. So we are not seeing anything here. These are kind of weirdly looking, so we just need to fix that. For that we can just copy these, and or else we could just do one. Let me just do so div dot, there's a class for this, so form check. So once that's done, we are going to tab it down. All right, we are going to open this and set that up. Perfect. Now if I save this, we are going to have a checkbox here. Oh, it's not working. Why? So I've missed something here, I guess. That's going to be form check input. That was my bad. So it's form check input, not form control. Form control is for texts and other things. So the same goes here. Check input. Chrome, we got ourselves our radio buttons. So that's done. And yeah, once copy this again, div.form check, tab it out, done. Now we have ourselves 2 radio buttons, so 1 and 2. So the radio buttons are done. So now if we go now down, so these validations are gonna be valid for these 2. So option validated, or else we are going to say please enter a value. So valid option. So the radio buttons are done. So where is that opened? Div, I think I've missed a div, didn't I? Label, div, and div. I think I've missed something here. And just check that. So that's the column, that's the row, that's the column. Well, I think we have missed something. Let's just add how many other. Oh, we've missed a lot. Oh my god. Alright, let me just check if we are on the right one. Alright, what about this one? That's good. Div as that. So that's the column. Alright, so now I guess we are missing. So that's for the column. What about the row? Yeah, so that's for the row. And then we come to this column. So this column is going to open there, and we are going to close. Okay, that's one. And alright, I was not showing. Okay, I was not yet doing anything here, so I missed to add a div over there. That's why the formatting was also not correct. So I guess now that's working. Alright, everything got like this. That's good. Okay, so if I check this, and for this div we are gonna have it over that row. That's good. And then for this div we go here, and that's for that column. Well, that's correct. So let's close this column. Okay, I missed the column again, so I'm sorry. So that was right there. So this div for this column is done. Once we go down, better I space it down right. All right, now that's done, we go into the select. So select is nothing but a drop down list of something, like a few options which we selected, the right ones. So next we are going to do that now. So commented select. Okay, we'll add a div with, all right, I'll just copy and paste it. Yeah, okay, 1 second, I guess I just copied the wrong one. No problem, I'll just type it out. So div call, and then go down. Okay, now we can just add a label which is a first name, and this is going to have a class of form label, and this label is going to have select one, and that's going to have a span just to make it important. So we're going to have a star class is going to be text danger just to make it red. Let's save that. So the label is ready. Let's go down. Let's see, let's have select over there. Okay, I'm sorry, let's do this one. So select name, we can just leave them for now, that doesn't matter much, but yeah, you can just add whatever is required there. So form select, so that it identifies from the Bootstrap classes. Required, now in this select we're gonna have the options. So option value, so this doesn't have anything just because it's not a valid option. So choose a color. Now we are going to have another option which is going to be 1 as the value and red, and then we're going to have another one, option 2, value 2, so that's going to be green. Next we're going to have another option with 3, that's going to be a blue color. Now we got all these 3 options. Now this column is almost ready, but we forgot to add our valid and invalid feedbacks, so we're gonna have those right there. So over here, options, we're gonna change this just to make it look perfect. So selection validated, we select a valid option, this is good. So let's have it as select a valid option. So let's save that. So now we got a select. So select one, choose a color, red, green, blue. So for now, let's just ignore the design for now. We'll just fix that later. So once we are done with the select column, we just go down. We have another one which is the text area. So we are gonna have the text area, just going to have a div of column again. Next, that's going to be having a text area. So this text area is going to consist of a name, an ID, and columns and rows. So I'm just going to add a few more here too. So the placeholder is going to be a message, and then we are going to have a class with form control from Bootstrap. And now what we could do is we could just save it, and then let's just check that here. All right, our text area is working fine, so we can just drag it down just to resize that, and anything can do anything on that. So now we can just add our valid and invalid fields. Now if I just open this, message validated, please enter a valid message. All right, so this column is also done. So that's how you make a text area. Now we go into our last but not the least, the checkbox. So we go into the checkbox column now, div.call. Let's just have it there, and then we are going to have a div.form check. All right, now in this form check we are going to have an input which is going to be a type checkbox. In this checkbox we are going to have a class of form check input. So this one is going to be of ID checkbox, and then that's going to be a required field again. So once that's done, we save that. Let's see if we have anything. So we have a checkbox, we don't have any labels for that, so we are going to have that. So a label, that's going to be a check box, so that's going to be a class of form check label. So we are going to have something like agree to the terms and conditions. So I'm just adding just like that. So that's the label. Let's just go over there. If we select this also, it's going to be selected. Also this, it's going to be selected. So once we add the same ID for this input and the label as for these two should be matching. If these are matched, then we can click here, click on the text, or else the checkbox, anything will be fine. It's going to select or deselect automatically. So now if I go down, let's add our valid and invalid feedbacks. These are going to be like a bit different, I guess. Let's see, something like thanks for accepting the terms and conditions. I spelled it wrong, I guess. So terms and conditions, and here we can just say please agree to the terms and conditions. Well, that's good. Now if I just go over, yeah, so the column is done. We go down. All right, so we are done with the input. We are going to add our submit button at the end of the page. So go to submit. We can just add a div of call again, and let's say we are gonna have a button with submit, and we are gonna be having a ID of submit btn just to identify this button. So class btn primary. So this is also a big Bootstrap class. So this is going to be of type submit, which is going to be submitted once we click on that. So this button is also ready. So if I save this and go over here, so I have this button. If I click this, we are going to have our first validation from the browser. So this is from the browser. We didn't actually add any JavaScript for the Bootstrap validation yet. So if I click that, we are just having that please fill out this field, but we are going to make that even look cooler. So now after this we can just get down over here. First let's just make that look cool. So let's go over here, let's just fix our front end real quick. So let me just see what we could do. So here we have call md12 and 2. Let's, okay, this one's call, so call and call, that's good, no problems over there. So for this one we could just say call md12 just to make that a full width. So we got this as a full width, these two got half of the screen, so that's good. We could just add a margin of 2. Yep, we got a margin of 2, that's good. And let's just see what we could do now. Let's go down. We'll just add that to the phone too. Let's add that. So call md12 and m2. Let's save it up. So we got the phone again, that's good. And then let's go down. Yeah, the radio buttons also we can just add that. Call md12 and m2. Well, we got that too. Now we can just add that to everything. I guess that's going to fix it, I guess so. Let's see. So select call md12 and m2. Let's see. Wow, that looks good. Now let's do the same to here. So 12 and 2. Let's save it up. Wow, that looks really clean. Well, let's just add that here. md12 and 2. Let's save that. Well, that looks really good. We can just fix that too. And 2. Alright, so we just have this all aligned. Alright, this is not aligned. Let me just do something for that too. So we can just go to the top right there and let's just say call md12 m2, but let's see if we add this. So call m2. Alright, that's fixed. We'll do the same to this m2. Well, that looks good. That's really working well. Now let's see what we could do next. So if we go down, yeah, so over here we can just come over here and now we'll be adding our JavaScript just to make those validated. So for adding our JavaScript over here, we could just have a script tag here, and then we are going to have a constant of form equals document.querySelector and form. So this query selector is going to select any element with that name. So this is going to be selecting the form. So that's going to be this form which we have created here. Note that if you have more than one form, you need to like create an ID for each form or kind of class for each form and reference to that, so that it's going to be unique for each of those. But for now I just have one form, so that doesn't matter for me. So that's just a note for you. So now if we take this form, we have named that as form, so I'm going to take that as form. So the colors are really useful here. So form.add event listener and open that up and then say submit. So whenever that's submitted, it's going to be adding an event listener. That's going to be an E. So now if we open up a function, that's going to be like if the form is check validity. So this function or the method is given by Bootstrap. This is also given by Bootstrap all the way. I didn't create any method for this, so that's just this form check validity is given by Bootstrap. So if I do that, go here, e.prevent default like this, and go down, go here. So it's what's happening here is this method is going to check for whenever the form is not validated. It's just checking the validation. Once it's checked, then it's going to be preventing the default when there is the validation error occurs. So once the validation is not correct, so if it's invalid, then it's going to stop everything. So this is to prevent the default behavior. The default behavior of a submit is just to throw you out of that URL and go to the next one. So that's what happens. So for now, it's going to be preventing everything. So now I can just say form.classList.add was validated. So let's say save. So what's happening here is form.classList.add was validated. So once this is, if a condition is done, if this is not true, if this is not true, then it's going to come over here. If this is true, then it's going to stop and just do nothing. If this is not happening, then it's going to come here. Once it comes here, we are going to add a class that's going to be was validated to the form. So that this was validated is going to be helpful to open these validated feedbacks. Otherwise, invalid feedbacks are going to occur when this method is executed. So if I go down, console.log submit, just to make sure if that's submitted or not. All right, so now once we come here, now we can just add that as false. Basically it's going to be defaultly false, then it's going to do this. So once, let's just check this out in the browser, just say submit. Now the validation is not working just because we didn't add a few things into our form. So in the form we need to add an action, and also we just need to have some validation, no validate. So once we do that, we're gonna save it. Let's see what's going to happen here. Submit. So if we see here, we are getting all these validated, that these are not correct. So I'm not sure why this is being validated exactly. We'll see that in a second. So once we do that, we can just go down. So all of this is working fine. Now what we could do is we are going to send this action. So once this form is submitted, we are going to redirect the user to a new page. So we are going to right click, new file. This is going to be our thankyou.html. So over here we can just say our new emit. So in here we can just say thank you. So what we could say is we could just add our Bootstrap CSS over there too. Copy and paste it there. All right, I'll go to the body. Now we can just say a container and have a h1 tag that's going to be your form is submitted successfully. So now just to make it look clean and neat, so we are going to have a class of text center justify content center flex column min vh100 deflex. All right, so if we save this, now once we are done with this HTML page, we are going to connect that over here, right over the action. So in this action, what we could do is we could just say slash thank you.html. so once this is being validated, we are going to send this to this HTML page. So let me just try that. So let me just refresh once again. Let's just say submit. All right, so this is what's happening. So let's see if we add something, it's going to push it to someone. Let's see someone, what do we have here? So something like John Doe, email is johndoe1@mail.com. so it's validating dynamically, so we are getting all these validated. So the phone number is going to be something like 240 some number, I'm not sure. All right, so I like non-vegetarian, so let's select a color blue. Message is going to be hello, this is a new form. Now I'm going to agree. Now this response has changed. Let's submit. So once we have submitted it, we have come to the thank you form, I mean this thank you HTML page. So here you can see that it's changed to a new page. So your form is successfully submitted successfully. So if we go back, we don't have anything here. So what we could see is if we click that, here it's all those things. So validation is successful. If I refresh this, it's gone, all gone now. So let's see why this is happening. So I think we might have missed something over there. Let me just check. So let's go down. So that's the text area. We are having the form control. All right, so we have missed the required field, which is giving us an issue with this form. So if I submit now, we are having all of these invalid. So if I just say John Doe again, John Doe 1@mail. All right, this now go down, non-vegetarian, blue, and say this is a new form. Let's accept, submit. Now that's submitted. Well, that's how you create a form with validations using only Bootstrap without any custom CSS required. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you have any video suggestions or any ideas, please comment down below. I'll be checking those out. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you guys in the next one.